We forgot to invite our guest.
Yeah, exactly. No, I got him.
And one of us is married to it.
Yeah, I know. It's downstairs. Yeah, he's downstairs. He's downstairs. He's downstairs, and I forgot to send him a link. But the thing is, he refuses to have a key to the house. So, you know what? That's just what it is. You know, at least it'll give him some time to wake up or something.
Oh, my God.
Oh, my goodness.
So, yeah, like, I totally put myself on a fucking schedule, and I'm proud because I think I'm going to be more streamlined and actually have a fucking day off.
For a change.
Yeah, right? Yeah. All right.
Well, speaking of schedules, what's today?
Fuck. Oh, yeah, hey, look, I have a wall calendar that I finally updated since January of last year.
Oh, there you go.
Hey, Daphne.
Yeah.
It's Monday.
It's Monday.
November 21st?
Yeah, 21st.
2022. And this is the Raging 2, the vlogs. Do we like this? Do we like that?
I think so. I think we do. I think we do.
If you say so, I'm happy.
Okay. Okay. Go ahead.
All right. Let's do this intro. The views and opinions expressed within the video content found on the Indy Comics Network are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of the Indy Comics Network or its sponsors.
It is difficult to write these words, but I must for my own sake. I have done, seen, and been part of many things in my life.
Making JD suffer with us through our intros because I played his dynamic intro too early.
Oh no!
And now I can't drop the damn card because my computer just fucking froze. Daphne.
Oh, hold on. I'll get it.
All right, I got it.
Poof.
You got it. There it is. Hello, sir.
Good morning.
Oh, good morning. Good morning. Oh, good grief.
You guys okay?
Yeah, no, it's Monday. It's Monday. Yeah, that's what it is. We're still waking up. Yeah, I'm still, it's like I realized I still didn't set up half my setup over here, so I'm just opening up tabs and whatnot. But, good morning.
A microphone.
All right. Good morning.
All right, let's do this.
Good morning, everybody, to another episode of the Rage Into the Vlogs show. Oh, my goodness. As you can see, we're starting with our usual professional setup. Because that's why you guys are here. I know it, So who's joining us in the chat today, Nita?
We got Will with Creators Outlet.
Hello.
Jody McPhee.
Hello, good morning, everyone, and good morning to the 4 people next to the giant eyeball on my screen right now. Thank you so much for watching us from regions beyond. If you're watching us from Facebook, if you're watching us from Twitter, come on over to YouTube. Join the sexy people in the chat. Keep Will and Joe company. And have, it's a lot easier for us to have conversations with you here on YouTube. Facebook gets uppity sometimes, and Twitter doesn't even allow you to chat with us. So YouTube's the best place to come, to watch our show. So thank you so much. Anyway, it jumped up to 6 people. Thank you. So I guess we might as well get this started. It's like, so hello, everybody. Where am I? What am I doing? I don't know. Today's the day. Today
My name is Daphne Lage.
Yes. Oh, yes. That's right.
I am a
yes.
cartoonist. Okay.
I am a cartoonist and illustrator. I'm something. It's like, well, hello, everybody. My name is Daphne Lage, and I'm a cartoonist, illustrator, and comic book artist from New York. I have been self-publishing comics since 1992 because I don't know any better. And
I got nowhere else to go! I got nowhere else to go! I got nothing else.
Except I have and am known for the furry fantasy adventure Tall Tales, also written by J.D. Calderon, and my medieval fantasy soap opera drama Eagle Raven, Heir of the First Unicorn, on Kickstarter right now. We are so close to unlocking the next stretch goal with the art print. I just want to thank the 100 and I think last I checked it was 117 people who have backed the campaign so far. Thank you so much. And for everybody who's just seeing this for the first time, all the links are in the show notes below. Actually, all the links for everything that we showcase on the show is in the show notes below. But in the meantime, you can read both my comics online at Tall Tales, TAILSonline.com, and egoworks.com, EGOWORKS. And you can check out all my videos on how I make my comics here on YouTube at my channel at Daphne Lage, Lage Art, which also simulcasts through the Indie Comics Network.
.com.
That's right.
It's .com. Got.
We're going to turn into a morning zoo any second now.
And my name is Nita, so yeah.
Yeah. Well,
push
and
the button.
Right.
Push the button.
Which button?
Launch it.
Which button?
Launching.
Well, why don't let's get JD to tell everybody who you are.
I'm the guy who's always I'm JD Calderon, the writer creator of the Oswald Chronicles, Tall Tales Online, and a few other things. I've done a few things here and there. So
right.
That's who I am. You can find me Sunday nights on Talking Comics on Sunday nights with Indie Comics Explained, and you can find me on the YouTube, Facebook, and all these other places under JD Comics. So,
right. So there you go.
That's the simple and ugly of it.
So do you want me to press the button? So here we are, Passing Queens, Making Homes, trade paperback, the Oswald Chronicles, Volume 2, because Jose has to give multiple names to the same project, so nobody knows what he's talking about. So yes, this is for the Oswald Chronicles, Volume 2, and Volume 1 is also available on this campaign. So thank you to the 45 backers who have joined us, who have hit the notification on the campaign. So yes, so do you want me to press the button?
Yes,
Should I press the button? Press the button? Okay.
Precious minutes.
Right, okay, so I'm going to press the button right now. Okay. Yes, we read all the rules.
Hello, Grant.
Okay, and let me just refresh. And there we go. So, finally, official. The Oswald Chronicles Volume 2, now live on Kickstarter. 28 days. Oh, it's a short. So, I thought you were going to switch it to 21 days.
I thought I did too.
Oh, well, 28 days.
Well, it worked.
28 days now. There you go, folks.
Right, it's 28 days now. So there you go. You have extra days to get the Oswald Chronicles Volume 2 and Volume 1 on Kickstarter right now. But we can talk about that later, I guess. So there we go. So we are... So welcome again. I even vacuumed and everything. So.
Very nice.
Right, yes.
So did I.
Yeah.
We have to do this the professional way, or can we
do
do
we?
more casual?
Well, I don't know. Our professionalism is already sus enough. How do you want to do it, Nita? What happened?
Speak for yourself.
So how you want to do this?
I just was gonna cut him off and talk about how wonderful this is to begin with.
Oh,
Because
yes,
if
Nita's
anybody
on a
can
schedule.
No, fuck my schedule. I'm worried about his schedule. Okay, so if anybody's followed JD for the past few years, you probably own like a bazillion books, and I don't even know if he knows how to read them in order. And that's why these volumes are so awesome, because now they're being told in chronological order, and everything is coming full circle.
Right. So,
and I am thrilled for this.
Right. Now, as long as he keeps all the books the same size this time, we should be okay.
Oh, for fuck's sake. Yeah, he's like really triggers my OCD.
But so what's going on, JD? What's going on?
Well, it's volume 2 of Passing Queens and Making Homes, the Oswald Chronicles. As we know, the continuing saga is continuing, and it's the second part of the story. So it's the last 4 issues. It's 120 pages, and it tells the story of Oswald fighting against this sorceress queen who's a real troublemaker, and she introduces him to magic, and he discovers that he has a penchant for it. And this story runs for a while. Oswald's going to be around for a bit, and this is the very beginning. This is his nascent stages where we see him grow up just a little bit. We see him introduced to magic, and we see him finding out that he is maybe a little bit unusual, maybe a little bit special, for what he is, And also, I forgot to mention,
Yep.
The early backer stuff. So if you are, is it limited, right? Or is it limited?
The first 45 physical backers will get the pin and the coaster.
So. Right. So why don't you show that off again, and we'll blow you up on the screen here. Hold on. There you go.
You got it. Okay.
Yeah.
The coaster, and it says artwork by D. Fish and colors by Slimet. And I'm not going to pronounce his last name because I'm going to screw it up. All right. And then we have this pin. This is illustrated by Jade Gonzalez, and it's a little pin with a back on it, and it's also colored by Slimet.
So this is for the first 45 backers to the physical backers to the campaign. It's like, it's like, I know, does it concern you that digital backers kind of get left behind on these early bird things? I'm beginning to get self-conscious about that.
I know. It's a little rough, but I mean, I do try to sometimes, I try to come up with different things that I can pass along to them, So it's like, I have other stories that are just like only a few issues. Like these are stories that probably won't see the light of day for maybe another year. Right. But I have the first issue done, and sometimes I'll pass that on to them.
Right. Oh, so there you go.
So they get a little something special.
Nita is fighting with it's like that was something that we were talking about before. Like on Friday we were talking about like the importance of having, like, how do we get people to go to our websites when the Kickstarter is over?
We're going to do all kinds of ho shit. We're going to figure this out.
And it like just recently too, it's like now it's like we have to worry about another social media thing to worry about, and like, because Twitter may or may not be imploding, we don't know. It's like
either way, I'm already finding a whole new fucking audience on the other platform.
Oh, and that
so
platform
it's something
is
I want to explore anyway.
Yeah, is that the
Mastodon.
Mastodon? Yeah,
Yes.
that's so that's a new social media thing that we're testing out to see. It's like, okay, can we?
Mastodon,
Yeah,
Mastodon. Yes.
that's the
like
new.
the woolly mammoth.
Yeah,
Yes.
well, mastodons and woolly mammoths are two different things according to paleontologists.
Well, educated.
So I don't know.
Disagree, so.
It's still a big hairy elephant. I mean,
Yeah,
whatever it is.
exactly. Yeah, yeah. So, yeah. So it's like it's just So, what is your biggest challenge in promoting? In promoting, Oswald and the Kickstarters and your
Pre-launch
website
pages.
and whatnot. Right.
Yeah. Launch pages definitely. Just time. I work a full-time job, so I mean, it's working a full-time job. Just having to get out there, and also it's like I believe in work-life balance. So I like to work, I like to have a life, and then there's there's the day job, there's just job, and there's and then there's a little bit of balance in there. So that's the biggest, toughest part of it.
Right.
So, and
it's
that's-
like and is trying to find like new eyes for your stuff, like, is that like an even bigger challenge than just promoting? Or I mean, or is that like a separate concern? Or
it's always a concern, but it's like I know they're out there, and it's just a matter of just reaching them. It's we have this circle that we've cultivated. Now, how do we expand that circle, right? So it's a constant struggle to expand and push out that circle, and then you have to concern yourself with, are you expanding into the right circles?
right.
Because it's like there are different circles within the community, and and it has nothing to do with the people in the circle, because they're fantastic people, but it has to do with like, does their what they're pushing, does it correlate with what we're pushing, and is it going to help us, and are we going to be able to help them? Because in the end, it's not just them helping us, it's us helping them. So is there an equal exchange? Is there any kind of exchange? Right? Is that crossover there?
Right.
Now, there was some recent, I guess, like some recent kerfuffle over the whole idea about creators supporting other creators and other campaigns, and the implication of the conversation was a little strange, because like I understood.
Come to YouTube and I'll talk to you.
Is that like they felt that creators couldn't be fans at the same time.
Why the
Right.
fuck not? That's the
and-
dumbest
and-
shit I've ever heard.
And
Right,
it's
I
like,
think-
is that? I mean, it's like how do you look at that conversation?
Right. I think a lot of people fail to realize that, like, we all started as comic book fans. I mean, I have a massive comic book collection. I have, if you look, I'm a super backer on Kickstarter, right? I really enjoy and love comics. That's what I do. That's what I enjoy. If I like your comic, I'm probably going to order it. Now, I'm getting into the thing where it's like, I may trade weight you, right? So, so if you're trade weighting me, now's the time to go get it, right?
Oh, that's true. Yes, it's like,
right?
This is a good starting point for anybody who's just finding this for the first time.
Exactly. So you have the first 2 volumes. You can go check it out. So it's up there for you. But like I said, you have people, and I don't think being a fan. I don't think being a fan is necessarily a bad thing. I think their complaints is that it's some kind of weird circle jerk that's going on.
Well, there are weird circle jerks that are going on.
Right, but this isn't one of them.
No,
right?
No, absolutely not.
Right. So I mean, you can sit out there and here's the problem: is are you upset that people are not backing your stuff? I mean, what are we looking at? You say you're looking for real fans, right? So go find them.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
There's coming a point where it's just like, you can tell, like, look, if you see people and if it makes you unhappy to see people on your list that are ordering your stuff, just ask them not to back you. I'm willing. I'm more than happy to take on any and all backers.
Their motherfucking money. No, any backer, every backer counts. Every backer.
Yeah.
Exactly. Every backer counts, and I'm appreciative of every backer that I get, whether they're creators or fans. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But I know I have fans.
Although I do
exclude a large part of your fucking fan base, though, or potential fan base.
I find it fun when I recognize people's names on my backer list. You know, right. I mean, and especially when they're coming back. You know, because the thing is, though, it's like, it's like, okay, I understand that you don't want, like, oh, yeah, trade. You know, it's like, oh, I'll support mine. You know, I'll support yours if you support mine type of thing. But the thing is, though, it's like, there are a lot of books that I'm an actual fan of. So it's like, you know, so it's like, so don't say it's like the creators that they don't count somehow. Yeah. You know, that I don't count as a fan somehow because you recognize my name.
Yeah, and the thing is like, you know, to be praised by the fans is fantastic. To be praised by your peers is incredible.
Right.
Yeah.
Right?
Especially with all the jealousy within the industry. That's
you know,
and you get a compliment, it's a big thing.
Yeah.
Right.
You know?
But I mean, and to be honest, what are you jealous about? You know, in the end, it's mostly about sales. And if you work at it, you'll get some of those sales.
Right.
You know, I mean, unfortunately, there are no Alan Moore's, Neil Gaiman's roaming these aisles, right? So
trademark.
Right.
So I mean, you know, it's basically success. Am I gonna sit here and, like, I don't know, beat up on I don't know, Brian Pulido because he's raising $500,000? No, man, good for him. He has an entire staff to feed. You know,
like, no, I could imagine. It's like,
that dude is working hard.
You don't raise six figures and be the only person there.
Right. You know? He has a staff.
Right. He has a staff. He has a warehouse. He has, you know, he has a whole thing. He must have a whole thing going on now.
Oh, he does. He has. He has videos and he shows off the whole thing. It's like
Brian Pulido's an industry.
Yeah, he is. You know, good for him. You know.
Yeah. Yeah, because that was like the one thing I didn't understand. Like, you want backers, but at the same time, you're picky at the types of backers you're getting, and it's like, that's not how that works.
No.
You know. Yeah. So So for those of you who missed yesterday's Talking Comics on a Sunday night with JD, that was a really good show. And we also got to hear Baby's first rant from C. Michael Lanning.
Oh my god, I so want to go back and clip that.
You know, so what happened was that can you set that up for us? So for those of you who missed it, you can catch the show on the replay. It's in our playlist on both on Indie Comics Network, or if you go to JD Calderon on YouTube. So
go to JD. If you're watching us here, go to JD's channel and follow him there.
Oh yes, and make sure to subscribe and like both the channels.
Touch all his buttons.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, wow, you actually asking me to remember something from yesterday.
Well, you were there. I just heard Chris's tone change, and I was like, "Whoa, what's what?
Ooh, someone's getting smacked."
Oh yeah, it was funny. It was. You know, the question was brought up. God, let me see if I can remember it. It's
What? Yeah, because
I remember it was gatekeeping versus quality control.
Right, it was quality control. Right, the question is like, what within the? I had asked the question. It was like, what is it within the industry that you see that's going on, right? Whether positive or negative, that's going on that's affecting the industry, right? You know, within indie comics. And Michael Lanning said that. Quality control. There's very little to no quality control within indie comics, you know, and you have a lot of people coming in, right, and they feel that just because they drew 3 doodles or whatever and for the first time, it makes them the equivalent of all the other creators that have been out here for like 5, 10, 15, 20, however long, you know, you've been doing comics, and that makes you our equals. And, you know, he is just like, no. Somebody had brought up the point of, isn't that gatekeeping? And he's like, no, it's not gatekeeping. And you know, and then hilarity ensued. It was fantastic. I was like, oh, look at this.
Because that's a lot of people seem to, because in the end, right, nobody is stopping you from paying a POD and printing your comic.
No.
So it's like, it's not gatekeeping if people do not see you as like, as the same as someone who spent 20, 30, 40 years honing their craft. I guess it does
sacrifice. blood, sweat, and tears.
Yeah.
Having to lock yourself away from 4 itty bitty kids so that you can take an art class and maybe see your children for an hour, and you had to go work full time to provide for them too. Like, no, fuck you. You can't. You're not. These little AI artists and
it dovetails into that conversation too, where it's like you have these keyword jockeys who now think they're the same thing. They're the same thing as Todd McFarlane. They're the same thing as Alan Moore.
Paying your dues,
right? You know, I mean, and now here's the thing though: is there an equivalent for writing?
Well, they say they have AI. They say they have AI writing articles,
right? Yeah.
You know, and they have them. You know, it's only going to be a matter of time where, I guess you're just going to be able to type in, you know, some kind of prompt, right? You're just going to be able to come up with some prompt, and then the AI will come up with some mangled garbage, and you can go in and maybe edit it around and move things around.
It looks like art fingers.
Right.
Oh,
yeah.
Exactly.
For now.
It can't draw hands, and it can't use adverbs.
It's gradually getting better.
Yeah. I mean, you know, I'm in the process of reading, I just finished a book called Milkman from Image, and I'm reading also Miracle Man by Alan Moore, right? The same, and I'm reading them both at the same time. I read part of one, and I read a few issues of one and a few issues of the other because they're omnibuses, they're really thick. And for any AI to come up with what those two men, those two creators, those two writers came up with, if it happens, I mean, I can see it happening in the next 300 or 400 years, but no time soon, because those two creators and many others, not just them, but I'm reading those two specifically at the moment. You know, those two works are incredible, and I don't ever see some machine repeating, you know, what those two guys did, and that includes the artists. I mean, there's just no way at the moment, you know. The art,
but it'll perfect the art before it will the writing, and the reason being is because the art is visual stimulant, the words are thought,
right? And
so that's just going to take much longer to train,
right? And I mean,
hey,
right, and I mean, Alan Moore during his Miracle Man phase, you know, he had a very poetic quality to his writing and to his stuff. You know, I mean, and he was just all over the place with it. And Milkman is just a very tight story, very creepy, and it's just excellent. You know, and I mean, like I said, I don't see AI catching up to either one of those two guys anytime soon.
Well, here was a question that I was kind of thinking about yesterday. So, is there an inherent now? If someone is coming in, like they have an interest in doing comics and writing for comics. Mm-hmm. Is there necessarily a difference between specifically writing for comics or just writing in general?
Well, you have to pick and choose, right? Because you're going to write haikus, or you're going to write screenplays, or you're going to write prose, or you're going to write comics. They're different disciplines, and they require different things, right? Writing prose is completely different than writing a comic. I'm in the process of translating one of my prose stories into a comic book, and I'm like in the process of I've had to rewrite entire sections because prose. What?
Go ahead. No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, because prose, you know, there's certain things you can do in prose. Like I can really get into the character's head and explain things directly from their eyes, right, and present the story that way. Whereas in a comic book, you know, you're working more from, you know, you're standing back, you're seeing a visual from the outside, right? And you might not catch everything. And then there's also stuff that, you know, as a writer, you know, when you're writing prose, it'll take me a page or maybe a half a page to put down on paper. But if I give it to an artist, it's going to take them like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 pages to illustrate, right? So sometimes you have to consider the cash value, right? As a you know, and here goes the business a little bit, right? And the writer, as a business owner, I have to consider is like, is this germane to the story in a comic, right? So should I cut this out, save those 9 pages, right, and make the story a little bit tighter, right? So those are the things that sometimes you have to consider. So like I said, they're different disciplines. You can't, you know, say, oh, you're just a writer, but what does that mean?
Right.
Right. There are some generalists, right? Like Isaac Asimov, my understanding is he had at least one book in every section of the Dewey Decimal System. Okay, so he wrote So he wrote every genre, right? Plus he wrote like medical books,
right? Something like
he wrote poetry. He probably wrote different forms of poetry on top of that. So it's like to be someone like that. I mean, but Asimov was someone special. I was a guy with a really big brain. So, but yeah, I mean, you have to like study. I mean, and you have to make your choices. Are you going to be a poet? Right? Are you going to be a songwriter? Are you going to be, so on and so forth? There's a lot of different things that go in there.
Now, do you think that, because there's a lot of people who it's kind of like, I don't know, people who look at like a manga style and think that, oh, I'm going to just concentrate drawing like that. And they think that like they kind of look at it a little superficially, that, oh, manga's just the big eyes and whatnot. And then it's like, oh, snap, I actually have to learn anatomy to do this correctly. Is there an equivalent in writing? Like, would a comic book writer benefit from upping their prose writing skill to become a comic book writer?
I mean, the understanding of structure, right? That goes to both, right? To any of those fields, you have to understand structure. So if you understand structure, beginning, middle, end, whatever, however, 3-act, however you want to break it down, right? Mm-hmm. If you understand that and you can do it well, you can float that skill over, right? The only other thing is working within the skeleton, right? So you have to learn how to break down a story differently in comics, right? It's more visual. You want to make it as visual as possible. You want to make sure
the dialogue needs to be shorter, so you don't have pages and pages of script over your art.
Right.
Like you have to learn how to say something to have the same impact, but get to the point as fast as possible.
Right. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's funny. It's the varying schools on that. Like I said, I'm reading Alan Moore's Miracle Man. There's a lot of words on those pages.
Right.
Okay. Whereas it's funny. Whereas the other book, Milkman, there are very few words on the page in comparison.
Right.
Right. And there are whole swaths where there are no words on the page, and I think that has something to do with the fact that time period, right? Alan Moore wrote that stuff in the 80s. This stuff is contemporary, right? He did it within the last 2 years. So I think that has something to do with that type of move. There's like a kind of shift in style, right? But there's some writers that are still word heavy. I know I'm word heavy, but I mean, it's one of those things where it's just, because here's the thing. You gotta balance, right? You have people who complain. They say, oh man, I bought this comic. It cost me X, right? $5, $10, whatever. And I read it in 5 minutes, right? But then you give them a comic book that takes them 20 minutes to read. And, they're like, man, that's a lot of words, right? So sometimes they complain about it. So it's like, which one do you want?
Right, exactly. That it's like, but do you think that has more to do with comprehension? Because it's like, if you can read a comic in 10 minutes, I mean, are you just skimming and looking at the pictures? I mean...
Well, it depends on how many pages and how much dialogue and shit is in there. Because, like...
Right.
But I don't think you're heavy worded. I really don't. Even on the words that have or even on the panels and pages that have the most fucking dialogue. Yeah, it's more than some. Right. But it's still an in-depth and easy read. Okay. It's not. I don't find heavy worded is like you open up the fucking page and there is more words than fucking art, and it's like, dude, why didn't you just write a book and put some pictures on another page?
Right. I mean, yeah. I mean, and here's the other thing: is like when you write dialogue, don't just write it just for the sake of writing it. Just try to make sure that it's pushing the story along. That you're running a narrative and then you're just going in a line. Because, look, I tell everybody, it says you write that first draft is for you. You put in whatever you want. Whatever you want to put in, you put in. They're dancing on the moon. Okay, fine. That's fine. Right. Whatever you want.
For the love of God, find their voices.
Right.
Before you progress.
Yeah. I mean, that one takes time. That takes any writer, that takes time. But, definitely look into that and develop that. For those characters, developing the voice is very important. And, that first draft, but just make sure you go in there and you edit the hell out of it. You knock out whatever doesn't need to be there. And that's painful, because you can write 4 or 5 pages of like dialogue and scene is really interesting and nice, has nothing to do with the story. Sometimes you just got to cut it out. You know, I just went through this with Jade. We had a scene in a current story we're working on, right? Too much just
all right. Nothing is left to the artists. I think, doesn't Alan Moore also sketch out the pages too sometimes?
I think so, but he also tells his artists, he tells them, he says, do whatever you want.
Right.
You know? So, I mean, it just depends.
Right.
I mean, I think it depends on the artist. Like I've had some artists where they want panel 1, scene 1. They want to be given strict instructions. And I worked with other artists where, you know, you can work a little bit looser and they're fine with it. Mm-hmm. So it just depends on the artist.
Right. You were starting you were starting a thought about like you were going through the same thing with Jade right now. Or right.
So we're working on a current story, and there was just a section in there that would have taken probably about 20 pages for her to illustrate. And I was like, and I read it and I was like, is this really necessary? I'm like, is this needed? I says, I could probably compress this down to like 1 or 2 pages and quickly explain it and just knock that scene out and move the story along a lot faster. So that's what I did. Sometimes you just got to knock it out and get it done.
Right. Yeah. But also in your case too, it's like how much, like if finances were not an issue, like, you know, you're the $100 million you're constantly asking the universe for,
yes.
Yeah. If that wasn't an issue, would that change your editing style?
Not really, because I mean, in the end, I mean, you still want to make a tight story, right? You want to make it as tight as possible. The only thing it would do is I would be employing like 10 more artists. That's about it. So yeah, that's
right.
That's
but the thing is, though, you would still cut the story the way you're doing it, you know, because it's just 2 different mediums, you know.
Yeah, like, because you don't want to you don't want that extra fluff in there,
right?
You know, especially in a comic book where you don't, you know, there's too many talking heads as is, so you just want to keep that story moving as quickly as possible. So pacing is important. So.
Right. I'm pretty sure I asked you this before, probably on a previous show, but I don't remember because it's like, you know, it's not like we're not talking all day because we're in the same, we're in the same house. But has there ever, like, is there any story that you have right now where it's like you're like going, like, it can't work as either or, like it either has to stay a comic or it has to stay prose, but for some reason you can't get it to switch over?
I haven't run across that, but then again, there are some stories where I'm just like, it's prose, and I'm like, all right, well, that one's staying prose, and that one's staying prose.
Right.
So it just depends on the story, because some of them, when they get a little thought heavy, those are the ones that are a little bit more difficult to translate over. But yeah, that's pretty much what that is. It's just you know, identifying those stories and like, oh, would that make a good comic? And maybe not, because it's not visual enough. There's not enough action. Right, and there's more thought than action, right? Whereas a prose story, it might work, you know, but you know, as a comic book, sometimes you're like, okay, we're gonna sit that one out. You know, if you want to read that story, you're just gonna have to read it in prose. So,
right. So, all right. So we're a little past the half-hour mark. So, Nita, do you have like some bumps to play, and then we'll come back and talk a little bit more in depth about the campaign and what's behind it and whatnot. Or should we just continue? Okay, there we go. Maybe her, I think her monitor keeps freezing up, so.
We can just continue.
Okay, all right, because obviously something's going on. So why don't I bring up the campaign?
This is not user error.
Right. So far, we'd like to thank the 7 people who have pledged to the Oswald Chronicles Volume 2 so far, $240. So there you go. It's like a nice little start there on this Monday morning. You know, it just like with everything else, you know, everything is slow today.
It is Monday.
Yeah, it is Monday. Yes, but all the links to everything is in the chat if you want to check this out. to check out the campaign.
And here's the thing: Kickstarter, not a sprint, a marathon.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And yes, even though I can only personally attest to a half marathon, it's the same thing. It's like starting is a misery.
Mm-hmm.
Starting is always a misery until you get to the last couple of miles. Oh, here we go. So how difficult would it be to turn a 3,000-word fantasy short story into a graphic novel? And how many pages would you think it would require? Asking for a friend. A friend named Hojo, maybe? I don't know.
Okay.
But
no, that's Joho.
Right. So say you have a 3,000-word story and you wanted to break that up.
Into a graphic novel? I mean, that's
what
tough.
Would be, is there like an average or something to expect from that,
typically what I get, like 3,000 words is not very long. No. It's most of the
that's going to be description that turns to art,
right? Most of the stories that I'm breaking down are like, I don't know, 16,000 word, 20,000, sometimes 28, so they're like novellas. And usually what I see, it's for every 2 pages typed. No, for every page I have that's typed, there's 2 pages of art, right? So if my final script is 57 pages, I'm going to end up with 114 illustrated pages, roughly, right. Plus, minus, usually more plus than minus.
Right.
And usually by like 5 to 10 pages beyond that.
So actually he should be so
you're looking at maybe a one shot there.
Oh wow, okay, so 3,000 words could actually be
24 to 32 page one shot, depending on how many visuals you have. I mean, it also depends if you got like a rolling fight scene that you could write in paragraphs. There's a fight and there's a war, blah blah blah, and all these different characters. You can do that for I don't know, a few hundred words. And that can take up 10 pages.
Right.
I can take up 15, 20 pages. So it depends how the artist breaks it down or however you want to break it down.
So
I handed a short story to a friend, and this story was only supposed to be, I don't know, I think I envisioned it as 8 pages. And when he came back to me, he was like, yeah, I read it. I really liked it. It's 28 pages now. I'm like, all right, fantastic. Right. So you're just like, okay, whatever. And sometimes that's what happens when you give it to the artist, but it depends how they break it down. If you don't break it down yourself very tight, right? You say page 1, panel 1, you're never going to know exactly what you're going to get back. If you leave it in the artist's hands, you could end up with, something that's much longer than you expected or shorter even. Right. I mean, I had another creator came to me and they asked me to write a short story for something they were doing for a property they had, and I wrote it, and I envisioned the stories 8 to 10 pages.
Right, yeah.
The artist was like, hey, can I do this in 20? Right? Because he wanted to make the fight scenes larger. He wanted to do double page splashes, with all the fighting, because I had a lot of fighting in the story, right? So he wanted to do more of that, so it just depends.
He Dragon Balled your fights.
Well, no. That's another artist that he had.
Oh yeah.
Except it was more. Have there with the which one was it? Which story? The
a few inches tall.
Yeah, that you had like you were expecting it to be
32 pages. 32 pages came out to 63.
Right, but the thing is, though, it was very, very decompressed storytelling, though.
Yes, he definitely decompressed it. What's funny is working on a second story, and he's done. I spoke to him. I said, listen, guys, try to squish that down a little bit.
Yeah.
And he's done a much, much better job of that. But in the A Few Inches Taller story, I mean, there's just what he did was, he just took those fight scenes and he took them to like the next level. They're just like crazy and all over the place.
Oh yeah, that's the funny thing. Those weren't the places where like they felt decompressed. They felt very. It's like just for some reason in the slow parts he made them even slower. Like for some reason he had to do every single change of facial expression.
Right. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, and I have to give him a lot of credit. The faces he puts on Oswald are hilarious.
Yeah, we could. It's like we could literally do like a print just on all the facial
Some of the
expressions.
faces, yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, it's just really funny. So yeah, so I guess in Hojo's case, 3,000 word
I would think 24 to 32 pages.
Right.
That's what I would think. I mean, a graphic novel, if you're going to stretch it, I mean, you're going to be stretching it.
Well, he
I mean,
said in the comments that he left gaps to fill out.
Okay.
I would pull it up, but I'm trying to share the campaign.
Yeah, you see, now we have a million social media places now
Right.
to have to fuss with, you know.
Mm.
So there you go. So that's actually kind of pretty funny, where it's like Hojo's probably sitting there going, "Oh, 3,000 words. That sounds like a lot." And you're like going, "You're not even going to get an issue out of it. What are you talking about?"
Not for my. I mean, that's a short story.
Right.
You know, that's considered a short story, and it is. It's
Right.
a short
But at the same time, it's like, yeah, when we did the Oswald Eagle Raven crossover, you were telling me that you were expecting the story to be like 8 pages, and I go, no,
Right.
it's a 16-page story.
Right.
You know,
I'm sitting
it's
there,
like, yeah, it's like it's 16 pages.
But it's funny because the one thing I've noticed is that, okay, I'm an 80s baby, right?
Right.
So the comics I read, anywhere from 7 to 9 panels per page,
Right.
or 6 to 9 panels per page. If you look at modern comics, you're looking at maybe like 5 to 6 to 7 panels a page, right? So I think in my mind, I'm writing still 80s baby style, where I'm expecting more panels per page.
Right.
And I think that's maybe where the difference is that more modern artists, they're looking at 4 to 5 panels.
Right. Well, I mean, I think that I think that's a manga influence, definitely, because there's you know, you read any manga and there's significantly less panels on a page. Aside from the fact that the format is different. It's not, you know, it's like, yeah, it's like, but it's like, for me, it's like the most panels like I feel comfortable with is with 6 panels a page at most. You know, it's like, I know that in some of my Conan books, there's like 12 panels. Like, it's like, bro, it's like, it's like they're just trying to squish everything in there.
Yeah,
you know?
if you look at Bandisane,
yeah,
right? Because they're working on they're also working on a bigger field.
They're larger.
Right. So I mean, you're talking about 12 and 15 page panels. I mean, you know, panels.
Yeah,
because
like here's, let's see. So, like this is, you know, like a lot going on here.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's like, yeah, it's not, yeah, there's a lot, but I think it's because they work in a larger size that it allows them to do this. But I couldn't imagine putting this many panels on a page, honestly. Oh, I forgot how good these are. Yeah, so we got to go back to Paris. I got to get Paris. All right.
Yeah. I just found a Mastodon flaw that I don't like. When you share campaign links over there, you're gonna have to bring your own image and paste in, because Kickstarter links do not connect there.
Right? Yeah, because it's like, I guess they don't consider Mastodon official to link. So yeah,
not yet. I think they will, though, because it's growing so rapidly. But for now, this is kind of a little extra pain in the ass. But
yeah, that's like the big.
I do it all for you, JD.
Thank you.
Yeah, that really is the big challenge. Is it, like we were saying in the beginning, getting all these new eyeballs on stuff. So, you know, it's like, you know, it's. I get tired of social media, that's for sure. I think that's why, in the end, if we could, you know, get everybody to go back to like putting everything on websites and web rings and stuff, it'll be just so much easier. It's just like, let me update my website, you know, as opposed to like 37 different social media accounts. You know?
Wow.
Yeah. So, oh, there we go. Thank you to the 10 people who have supported the campaign so far at $329, 28 days to go, because, you know, JD is always trying to figure out a way to do campaigns faster, but, you know, his mistake is your gain on this campaign. So you have 28 days instead of 21. So that's what, like 7 days longer.
A whole fucking pay period.
Yeah, there you go. So, okay, so tell us about, tell us about the campaign. And I know that this is for the Oswald Chronicles Volumes 1 and 2. Yes. And take it away if you like.
Like I said, we have our intrepid hero, Oswald, and he gets involved with two noble noble children, Jones and his sister, who I'm blanking on her name, of course, because I wrote the story like ages ago. But they plead with him. They're like their nation is being taken over by orcs, right? So they have an evil sorcerer's queen. They've ensorcelled their father, the king, and they basically have him enslaved. And through him, they're ruling his kingdom, and they're trying to move into and take over. And also, one of the things that's happening is they are converting their people. They're using them to power her sorcery. So this is bad because this is destroying the people as well as them losing their kingdom. So they're trying to get their kingdom back. They're trying to drive out these invaders, and Oswald is in there and he's trying to help out however he can.
So these two trade paperbacks, it completes this particular story arc.
It's the entire story. So those two trades, that's the entire story. So that's all 8 issues.
Right. So if you're finding this campaign for the first time, or if you're seeing this for the first time, and you're interested in the story, this is the campaign to do it. This is the campaign to jump in. You get the 2 volumes, you have a complete story, and then you can move on from there to all the other stories that JD is putting together. What, out of curiosity, what's the story that comes after this?
It's actually technically it's also a few inches taller.
Oh, okay.
Is the one that comes directly after that, and then after that one is we were just passing through, which is also available on this campaign as a level where you can get all 4 issues.
Oh, so there you go. I mean, it's like, do you have you really have to start putting a chart, so that if people want to read the stuff chronologically, that it's like like maybe like I don't know, so that they'll know. It's like, okay,
a map that they have to buy from your website.
I do have a time chart.
Oswald, visit dreamweaverpress.com.
Right. So of course, here is Jade also, who is the artist for this book, and here are the 2 covers to the volumes. Oh, and of course, here are the thank you, Facebook user. Come on over to YouTube and declare yourself so that we may thank you by your name.
And all your sexiness.
Yes. Right, exactly. There you go.
You are.
So if you are one of the first, what was it, 45 physical backers,
yes,
on the campaign, you will get a coaster for your drinks, and a little button for your denim jacket, which is still in vogue as far as I can tell. Denim jackets are still in vogue, so you're going to need buttons for your denim jacket. Yeah, probably. Yeah, so that, because I know that a lot of people do ask, is this in order?
Well, this is in order. This is one thing. Right. This is the very beginning. Right. So yeah.
Right. Oh, so and of course we have the T-shirts and the enamel pins, which are actually you're almost sold out of the enamel pins. So
yeah, I don't have many left.
So if you really want that enamel pin, so pick it up on the campaign. And of course, these are the other stories that he was just talking about as well. Actually, it broke free and couldn't read. Like, how far down the pipe does that go, or is that still in order?
No, that's still in order. That's actually it's passing queens and making homes. If I was a few inches taller, then it's we were just passing through, and then it's the following one.
It broke free.
It broke free and couldn't read.
Oh,
these damn titles! Why do I have them?
Yeah, I know, really.
Fancy at the time.
Yeah.
So how many trades do you think you're gonna have to complete the series?
I don't know.
That's math that he refuses to do.
Yeah,
Because, I need to know these things because, like, what I'm waiting for is like this fucking ultimate full color omnibus that
Me
weighs
too.
like 80 goddamn pounds.
Yep, that's what I'm looking forward to. Yes.
I'm so waiting for that.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know. You know,
I
it's
think
funny.
that's a while off still.
Yeah, I did a rough count yesterday. I'm up to
Thank you,
1,300
sir.
pages.
Or madam.
Yeah, I'm up to 1,300 pages.
Wow.
Of story. Yeah. So, and it's growing. It's growing.
It's like the only thing keeping him from putting out more campaigns is he needs more artists.
I need more artists. I need more money. I mean, and unfortunately, I mean, here's the thing also is like, you know, I don't, whatever monies I get goes right back to the artist. It goes right back into the project. You know, and that's the thing. So if you support my campaigns, you support the artists, and you know, you get to feed an artist, so you feel good about yourself.
Right. Yeah, exactly. You know, it's like you get more Oswald and stuff. And the thing is that we always joke about like how yeah. We're always joking about how you're pretty much a hot mess with your scheduling.
We're not joking about that.
You know, it's like you know that you just drop a campaign whenever you feel like it. You're an extremely feral campaign runner. Now the thing, do you think that it's like when everybody else is kind of like it has to do this, that, and the other thing. It's like, and you're like just like at the same time, you're just very like, look, here's the campaign, support it or don't. Right. So, what's kind of like, especially with the amount of work that you want to put out, like what's the thought behind that? Like in the end, it's like what's the thought behind your schedule or lack thereof?
It has a lot to do with the fact that I have a lot of content to put out, and I constantly have artists turning in pages, right? And they need to be paid,
right?
Right, and that's basically what it is. One, I have a lot of content. Like I have, man, I could run 14 campaigns back to back with just what I have now.
Right.
Okay. So, and that doesn't include what's being added on the back end. You know, by the time I was at the end, I would probably still be at 14 campaigns, right? So, but you know, the artists they require to be fed. You know, so I have to keep feeding it. I have to keep and look, I'm in this for the long haul, right? And I hope a lot of other people appreciate that and are going to be willing to come along for the long haul as well. The only thing I can promise is trying to get the best artists I can get, and you know, trying to write the best stories that I can, and you know, those are the two things I try to do every time. So,
and ultimate omnibus.
Yes,
that is the goal. Yes,
I am a ridiculous noodler. So, like, let's say if you did pick up the comics, you know, the trade paperback's probably going to be a little different because I made improvements. You know, because I'm going to sit there and I see, you know, look, I mean, no one's perfect. You go out there, you try to make the best product you can make, but you're going out there and you're like, there are going to be mistakes, right? And I'm going to go in there and I'm going to noodle. I'm like, oh, okay, well, this could be a little bit better. This could be a little bit better. And some of it has to do with the fact that I letter the books myself, and as time progresses, I'm becoming a better letterer, right? So I learn different tricks. And I learned different little things that can be done. I'm like, oh, okay, let's utilize this, right? And then I start adding those things. And I go back to older pages and I start messing with them. And I give them to Daphne. And I know she gets frustrated with me because, you know, I'm constantly updating. I say, all right, drop these in there and delete those other ones.
Right, which is what's happening with the trade paperback. You know, we're working on the file. And it's like I had everything set up. I sent him the PDF sample of the interiors, and he goes, "Oh, I'm replacing all the pages." You know,
I basically touched up all the lettering. I just probably about 45-50% of the book.
Right.
So I was like, but in the end, it looks better. So you know that's my ultimate goal is just trying to make it, you know, a better experience for everyone.
Right. So like even if you do have the original comics, the trade paperback is kind of like the almost definitive edition. Right. Yeah, because once we get to the omnibus, I'm sure things are going to change even further from there.
Definitely.
Yeah. So let's see.
Can you play the video one more time?
Damn straight. That motherfucker's epic.
Right. Yeah. Let me do that.
I got it.
Oh, you got it? You got it? Okay.
Got it.
Hit it.
It is difficult to write these words, but I must for my own sake. I have done, seen, and been part of many things in my life.
So
that's fantastic.
Yeah, that is such a huge jump from the videos that you used to do before. So what changed?
Well, what changed is that I hired someone to do it. His name is Tyler Carpenter. Thank you, Tyler.
Oh, that's
excellent job. Thank you.
Yes.
And Tyler, if you want to get a video from him, reach out to him because he does them professionally. So you reach out to him. He has a fee, obviously, but did a great job. Love it.
Yeah, he did a fantastic job. That's by far that is up there with my top 3 favorite fucking Kickstarter.
Yeah, it's very
ever.
It's like his timing. I mean, it's like that's the one thing that because that inspired me to update my video, and even then I was just like going, there's always something about the timing. Anybody who can work, Meredith was really good at it too.
God, yes,
she was really good at timing the images with the music, and I'm just like going, I gotta get this done. So let me
because the Rob Multari Snowfall issue 1 video is right up there with this one for me because she did that fucking transition at the end, and it was like, holy shit! The first time I saw it, my hair stood up on my arms.
Like,
let's go to the theaters now.
Yeah, just like with this one, it's like, coming soon to Netflix. I mean, I would have I remember with I think I was only a few inches taller. There was a particular image for the cover that he had gotten, and I made a fake Netflix setup for it.
Yeah, I remember that.
And it completely freaked everybody out.
Yeah.
It's like, no, unfortunately, no, there is no Netflix deal. It's just a goof. We were just goofing around.
But it looked sexy enough to be official.
Yeah, no, because a lot of people were congratulating JD, and he's like, wait, what? I had no idea what anyone was talking about.
True.
Oh my god.
So there we go. So here we are, just past the top of the hour. So thank you to the 11 people who have pledged so far. $384. We're a little bit closer to reaching the $1,500 goal, which it's like we always reach it, so it's not. We don't have to guess anything.
So JD, let me ask you one more question before we go.
Uh-oh.
Why? Damn good and well you're going to make more than $1,500. Why do you set your goal at $1,500?
Well, it's for newer people who are coming in so that they know that they feel comfortable to the fact that this campaign is going to succeed and fulfill.
Yeah.
Right. And that's always been my mindset. That's also why I used to do $500 for a lot of the campaigns, is because it's going to get done. Yeah. I just want people to know that it's going to happen. And people are going to get their product, and they're going to hopefully get it very, very quickly. Because, I like to do fast turnarounds on these. Nobody's waiting 2 years. Nobody's going to wait.
Never.
Wait 9 months. Wait a month or two.
And out of probably an entire short box of books, I've never received one damaged from you guys. Never.
Oh yeah, our packing is yes, we get a lot of compliments. About our packing, yes.
I worked for FedEx, and if they taught me one thing, they taught me how to pack.
Right, there you go. So yes, so the campaign will be funded. You will get your products on time, and you will get them in excellent condition. So you don't have to worry.
And the
about...
T-shirts that are add-ons in that campaign are badass. You can
yes,
wash them and dry them fuckers over and over and over,
because
and
they're actually
that image
silk
is
screened.
not going anywhere.
Yeah, they're actually silk screened. They are not inkjet. Whatever that inkjet process that they do on fabric. No, this is legit old school silk screening. There was a dude who pulled the squeegee on the shirt. So, so like I said, thank you so much for everybody who supported the campaign so far. If you're just catching us, all the links to everything that we've mentioned in the show is going to be in the show notes below. So that brings us at the end of our show right now.
Thank you.
Because JD's got to get to work. So.
Yeah,
is that what
gotta
the
go do
rush
that
is?
thing.
Yeah, so unfortunately, yes, it's like he's not a
Monday.
stay-at-home. He's not a stay-at-home comic book creator. So unfortunately, which there's absolutely nothing wrong with everybody watching. It's like you got to do what you got to do to keep the money coming in and the art flowing out, or however that works.
Exactly.
Right. Something.
So,
Yeah.
Where's the people's find you?
There you go.
Oh, yes. You can find me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, DeviantArt, all under JD Calderon, as well as YouTube, Sunday nights for Indie Comics Explained under JD Calderon.
Right, and you can check out all the replays of his shows on his YouTube channel and on the Indie Comics Network as well. So, Nita, any final words? Any final thoughts?
No,
not at all.
blanking.
You're just blanking. So where the peoples can find you?
Where the peoples can find me? Inside the show notes, there is a link tree. It is linktree /Indie Comics Network. Not only can you find my social media accounts there, you can also find all the network and all the individual creators that are a part of helping me build over here are in there too. They're individual link trees. So everything on everybody from campaigns to websites to everything. Linktree, IndieComicsNetwork.com. Or, yeah, whatever.
It.com. Cut.
Christ.
Now, the thing is, I know both Joe and Jake were in the chat, but I can only annoy people with one Homestar Runner reference per day. So there we go. So also, if you're interested in seeing more of my work and learning more about me and my campaigns and whatnot, remember Eagle Raven, Heir of the First Unicorn is on Kickstarter right now. Show notes, you all know where it is. You can head on over to my main portfolio site at egoworks.com, EGOWRKS, where you can find links to all of my galleries and social media sites, but I mostly post to Facebook if you're into seeing sketches and current work in progress and more like as it goes along, updates, more real-time updates. Exactly. And also, you can check out how I make my comics on YouTube, on my channel at Daphne Lage Art, and simulcasting through the Indie Comics Network. I'm sorry, Einstein said something and I got a little distracted. Right. And remember that you can also you can currently read the first 5 issues of Eagle Raven, Heir of the First Unicorn in its original black and white format, which will switch over to the new version starting January 1st. So if you're the type that likes to make comparisons between the old version and the color version that's on Kickstarter right now, you can still do it until January 1st, and then the comic will start cycling through the new updated versions in color. But if you are interested in a more fantasy adventure that's more of a furry Lord of the Rings, you can head on over to Tall Tales, TAILSonline.com, and read the first 20 issues of Tall Tales for free, which, by the way, Tall Tales will return to Kickstarter early 2023 with the complete Tall Tales The Peacekeepers trade paperback. So keep an eye out for that. So here we are at the end of all things, or at least the end of this Monday on on the Raging. Oh, well, Nita.
I totally did forget something.
Okay, what did you
Tune
forget?
in tonight for another episode of the Shit Show Shots with Comics, which had Perkins and Kit jaspering. Do not send them your comics for reviews, but tune in and see who they go over tonight. And oh my God, there was something else. Oh, well, there will be no House of Bob this
Right.
Saturday.
Oh, that's right. Yes, no House of Bob
for you.
Yeah,
no
porn in front of Grandma at Thanksgiving for you.
Yeah, Daphne's got some hot stuff going on or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's I don't know. It's just it's a little too weird for me. Although we will be back December 31st, where we can help ring in your new year with furry porn. So there you go. We're fitting it in somewhere on the schedule. So, in the words of the ancients, eat your food, moisturize, mind your business, and do the work, because when you actually do the work, you never have to fake any of your accomplishments. Say goodbye, Jose.
Goodbye, Jose, and remember, buy more comics, especially mine. Thank you.
There you go. Links in the show notes.
Oh my God. Goodbye, peoples.